Noyjeetut at his house. Yeah. Thought I'd start off this video with a minor little Strikeforce rant. The main problem to me is Dana White lied to us. He lied to us again. It seems like every time we merge and absorb these companies, Dana White says anything but that. What he does is he says, we may try to keep this company standing and keep it operating the way it is. He said this with Pride, he said this with WEC, and he said this with Strikeforce. And now, pretty much, it looks like they're just absorbing the top talent from Strikeforce. We just got Dan Henderson in the fight with Shogun. Kung Lee's going to fight Vitor. We know Diaz is going to fight BJ Penn. I think I've heard Overeem fighting Lesnar. So, I mean, there are all these cross-promotion, but it's all in the UFC. And that's what's happening. We're absorbing them. And I don't mind that. I understand that. That's smart. I mean, I'd put them all underneath the UFC banner, too. That's where you got the more popular brand compared to Strikeforce. The only problem I have is not everyone's going to make the jump. And there are people that were in the UFC that got away from the UFC to go to Strikeforce to get away from the UFC. But now that UFC is pretty much the only big one in town, you still got Bellator. But this is pretty much the only way to do business, which is sad. Because, I mean, Diaz ran from the UFC. Scott Smith, Robbie Lawler, they were cut from the UFC. It seems like they're running out of options. I just wish if Dana White was going to do this thing and absorb everybody and become a big UFC company, the big major leagues of mixed martial arts, the UFC, he needs to allow, he needs a much bigger roster. He just needs to absorb all these guys, even if they're not going to win titles or not going to be contenders or whatever that is. They need to just get them all. That's all. That's just my rant. And they're not going to do that. They're just going to cherry pick from Strikeforce and kill the name. So it sucks. I think it kind of sucks in that way. It would have been better. At least he should have came out right and said that. Of course, it's not as eloquent as, oh, you know, we're going to keep him in business and run him as a separate brand. We're seeing that dissolve real quick. So let's get to UFC 135. We're just going to do the main card on this because that's what excites me, really. Don't want to waste any more time. Mark Hunt versus Ben Rothwell. Ooh, that's a throw a dart into a board kind of pick. If Rothwell's smart, he'll dust off some of his wrestling and get it done here. So I'm going to go with Ben. We'll see how smart he is. Diaz versus Gomi. This is Nate Diaz. That's a hard one because Nate Diaz had his hands filled with Gomi back in 2007, but that was back in 2007. I think Gomi has lost some steps, so I'm going to go with Nate Diaz. Travis Brown versus Rob Broton. Going to go with Travis Brown. He's just a big, scary guy, and I really don't know anything about Rob, so sorry, Rob. Matt Hughes versus Josh Koscheck. This is interesting because for a long time we haven't really seen Matt Hughes, who I call an upper tier, like welterweight, ever fight, you know, a Ultimate Fighter guy. I mean, he fought Sarah, but I mean, really like an Ultimate Fighter guy. He never really fought someone who is, you know, primarily featured for the first time on Ultimate Fighter. I always thought there was kind of like a curtain there where they were separate because a lot of times you feel like the upper tier guys are separated from the lower tier UFC tough guys. So that's what I felt like. I think Koscheck should take this, but Matt Hughes right now is in like wild card mode. You really don't know what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. I mean, I wouldn't predict any of his KOs he's had. He's taken everyone by surprise with everything he does. So I would never count him out. I never count Matt Hughes out. But Koscheck should have this soundly if he just works his wrestling over Hughes. So we'll see. I hope Matt Hughes wins. I kind of like Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes is a better asshole than Josh Koscheck is an asshole. He's better at it. He's better at it, and he's even more likable as the asshole than Josh Koscheck is. So there you go. And we got the main event, Rampage versus Bones Jones. So, yeah. So far what we've been seeing is Rampage has been trying to get under Bones Jones' skin and, irritate him and stuff. And a lot of people say it's worked to a degree and he's got them rattled and stuff. I don't know. Bones Jones has just always been awkward to me. Everything about that kid is really awkward. From his fighting to his personal life, he just comes off as awkward. So I wouldn't really say he's rattled. He looks the same to me that he always looks. He always has these weird expressions and you're unsure of him. But I think he wins this. By what? I'm not sure. Probably, I think he's going to finish too. I really do. Maybe a TKO. I'll go with TKO. That seems like something it could happen. I think he could get Rampage down and swarm him. Maybe not. We'll see. But Rampage has done his part in hyping this fight, so it should be a good one. I'm looking forward to it, kind of. So he's done his part. So we'll see what happens.